following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Hello, buddy, and welcome back to episode 109, part 3. Let's talk about that. And let's start off with we talk about the first 4 matches of the first round of the WWE Cruiserweight Classic Tournament.
So this means we got 10 weeks of this right?
We do.
Of let's talk about that with this right here.
Or just the Cruiserweight Classic.
Or just the Cruiserweight Classic. Your first match representing Mexico was Gran.
Metalik.
Metalik.
Yes.
Because I feel like they said it differently.
Oh, they said Metalik. And I said, oh, thank God, so easy.
Versus Alejandro
Saez from Chile.
And what's his name? Danny Bryan said he was wrestling in Chile. But I don't think there is much of wrestling in Chile. It's just him, from what I was to understand.
Yes. He opened his own school, like all of them do.
Yes.
Okay,
he
dude.
sold very odd, though. He really did.
He looked odd.
He did look odd in the ring. But your winner is Gran Metalik.
Which, I like it.
Should have been.
Yes.
Should have been.
Your second match was Daivari from Iran versus HoHo Lun from Hong Kong.
Did you know he started the first ever promotion in Hong Kong?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
The way he looks, I would never expect it.
I see him getting signed too.
I do too. They need a new Tajiri. I mean, they need a new Funaki. So,
those are all Hong Kong. Is that Japan? Or China? Where's Hong Kong?
China.
Well, then it wouldn't be Funaki. I think he's Japanese.
I'm just talking about the character-wise, not as in from where you come from. I'm just talking about a goof character, because he has a goof face that he can be number one.
I thought you were talking about from where they're from. I'm like, both of those guys are from Japan.
And I meant to say Funaki, not Tajiri anyway. Because Funaki, you know,
well, Kung Fu Naki.
Yeah.
Stupid. Anyway.
Well, HoHo won. So he advances to the next round of the Cruiserweight Classic.
HoHo. Change his name! Anyway, third match was Clement Petiot. It was a very weird name.
I think the tweet.
It's weird.
It is.
They said it and I was like, yeah, I didn't catch that at all. Just like when Mauro says his name every time, he says it too fast. I never do get it.
Mauro Ronaldo?
It's not Ronaldo, that's Gerard, no, what's his name? Gerardo Rivera. It's like you're saying Gerardo Rivera. Anyway, he's from France, and he lost to Cedric Alexander from the United States of America.
USA!
Who lost 20 pounds just to be in the tournament.
And still, he's
freaking ripped, man. He did have a bit of a belly on him before that, so that's what he got rid of, I guess. He's a little thicker in this area.
Yeah.
But yes, I see him getting signed. They already did a chant for him getting signed, so that's very promising.
No problems with Cedric being signed.
No, he needs to be signed. And your fourth match?
Did you tell him Cedric won?
Yes, I said he got beat by Cedric.
Okay, but the France dude, he has a look that could be signed as well.
He looks like Chris Masters, but from France. It's very muscular. But not as big.
I was thinking more Rene Dupree.
Rene Dupree was like thicker than that. He did the French tickle.
Glad you remember that.
It was a dance. And he
you
brought out Pepe or whatever the dog's name.
Pepper, what's with
Al? Pepe, not Pepper.
Oh, sorry, I went to sleep there. That's what Alston.
Not Pepper. I said Pepe, which was I think with Chavo.
I gotta put something about Alston now. Okay. The fourth match.
The tribunal.
Yes. Get ratings.
Yeah, absolutely.
At first, let's sidebar here. People are getting so up in arms about ratings. Think about it. SmackDown was so bad. The last one was so bad. It was terrible. Okay, I looked at the ratings. They were number 1 for the night. Number 1, people.
They're not looking to get an 8.7 like they used to do with when they were fighting WCW.
No.
As long as they're number 1, then they're going to...
Yeah, they were number 1.
And there's nothing on
Tuesday
Tuesday nights.
They were number 1 for the night.
There's nothing on Tuesday night. So when they go live, it's going to be even better.
Okay, Mr. Ratings. Y'all don't really complain about TNA because you know the ratings are in the garbage. And you say, oh, that's great. It's the best wrestling ever. Okay, well, let's see the ratings pick up. Okay, they're going to be on Thursday. This is cable. So their first night back on Thursday. Back home.
Back home.
Let them be number 1. How about that?
It's not going to happen. They're like barely in the top 100 ever. The only time they were in the top 100 was with the match, the backyard wrestling match.
Oh, the one that where the Wyatt family and them.
They totally ripped that off. They sucked at it too. But I'm just telling you, the Matt and Jeff thing in the backyard, it's glorified backyard wrestling, guys.
With music playing all the time. I haven't watched it. I've heard, I've read
about it. You do need to watch it. It's entertaining. It's different.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
But it's entertaining. But everybody's up in arms raving about it. It's backyard wrestling!
What music? I read there was music being played. And there is... No commentating.
No, of course no commentating. But they yell at each other and talk to each other stuff.
And bad lighting.
Well, of course. And they were also talking to Senor Rodriguez, whatever his name is. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he's the lawn guy. He's Matt Hardy's lawn person. And he helped him set up everything in the yard. Like having a gasoline, because there's gasoline involved in the match. And we're burning people alive around here. Of course. Oh, sidebar there. Major.
Off the road sidebar on that one. Well, speaking of being weird here, I mean, if you don't read, then close your ears for about 10 seconds.
10.
Here we go. Starting out.
9.
10. You see where he bit somebody on the TNA taping?
He bit him right in the cheek.
He knows people. A plant.
But it's a plant.
It's so stupid. Why does he bite people?
But it's crazy.
What is he like? A vampire now?
But I'm sorry. Also, sidebar. Matt Hardy.
Quiet for who's going to listen. Yes.
Matt Hardy says that you're deleted. And from the promo that I read, he said that he no longer had a contract with Impact Wrestling. That he was done on Impact Wrestling. Right after the aftermath of deletion, and he was done, and he told him he would no longer have a job, and he was no longer on Impact. They announced the participants in the Bound for Glory playoffs. Jeff Hardy's in it. How?
Yeah.
You lost your job. You were deleted.
Okay,
Somebody make sense of this. Post it on our YouTube or on our Facebook and make sense of this. You TNA fans, please explain to me how you could be deleted and lose your job and still be in the playoffs.
Because if the way I read it, that if Matt owns Jeff, I would not let him be in the tournament for the title. He'd be washing my boots.
Unless it's going to come down to the two of them and he makes Jeff lay down for him. WCW, I'm going to poke you.
Ah!
I'm going to poke you, boy.
Just keep chanting Al Snow at him, he'll go to sleep.
That's true.
And then the fourth match, back to the Cruiserweight Classic, what is great for TV. We had Kota Ibushi from Japan, who is probably going to be the winner.
And hired on.
Versus part of the Samoan Dynasty, Sean Maluta. Like Muta?
Maluta.
From USA, Samoa. Your winner, though, is Kota Ibushi.
Exactly. So that is it for this week on the first round of that. So next week we'll talk about some more matches.
Yes.
Tajiri was going to be in those in those matches this time, I believe. But let's go on to who will be Raw and SmackDown General Manager. Shane says he has found his SmackDown General Manager. Who could it be? And yes, we believe it will be a good pick. So let's talk about...
Yes, I do believe it's going to be a good pick. Even though people say, yes, they like it, but no, he's not a very good talker.
I don't think he's going to have to be the best promo guy in the world.
I don't want to have...
He doesn't need to be having promos.
I don't have figures out there, figureheads out there all the time. Right. I want this to be like NXT. Maybe you talk a little bit, not 20 minutes. 4 or 5. Look what NXT does. Come on, Hunter. What NXT does. What, 5 or 6 minutes.
With this particular person.
And we get stuff over.
Right. For this
Regal comes out and just says it after a match.
But this particular person
Yes.
should come out after a match is over, whatever, and be like, well, next week, you're going to face you.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Me and Shane have talked about it, and this is what we've come up with. And short, sweet, to the point. Nobody needs to come out and go, excuse me! None of that.
Nope.
Short, sweet, to the point. But yes, this person I think would be a great pick, and it would go along with...
It's different.
It would go along with Shane's ideology, yes. Of being different, of being fresh,
I hope the whole set's change. I know it saves money on carrying the same set, same look. We don't want. It's 2 different shows. Everything needs to be 2
right.
different
But is
looks.
it really going to save any money because you're going to have 2 separate setup crews on the show?
That's right.
So it's like might as well have 2 different sets.
to have 2 different sets.
Yeah.
I understand all that. Hey, I love the set for the Cruiserweight. It's totally different. It's the same. You can tell the same. They're in the same studio.
Yeah, but they've shifted.
They made it old school feel.
Yeah.
And I love it. I want Raw and SmackDown to have different looks.
Kind of like how they originally started doing the ECW thing, where they shifted it off to the side. They had a small entrance video screen, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But so the best choices for Raw and SmackDown GMs, I believe that this person, which I mean, yes, I think we could say it's Daniel Bryan.
He has nothing. I mean, he's done. He's retired. I mean,
Exactly.
you ain't got to be on there every week.
And he can still go and film the Cruiserweight Classic stuff as they're doing that, and be the GM on Tuesdays or whatever. And he, he could just be out there for integral moments of making matches and things of that nature.
Yes.
And then him and Shane could be in the back every now and then talking over ideas, and people come and interrupt them, blah blah blah.
Yeah. But let's
it's
not make this a weekly thing.
It's a simple way to.
If we went a whole week and saw no figureheads, would not hurt my feelings.
Right. But it's a simple way to keep in the spotlight, keep the yes movement going, and keep that popularity going so they can make more money off of him. Yeah. And now they could put him in a suit and put another action figure out there for him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, they're just looking at it as a way to make money. But I do think that for his ideology, Shane's ideas of wanting to be different, want to be fresh, want to be...
breaking that glass ceiling for some of these people who can't get through the glass ceiling.
I think that Daniel represents that perfectly.
Oh, hell yes.
And that him and, like you said, you want faces with faces on this GM
yes,
and
we don't want that. We don't want people butting heads. That got old. It's old already.
They did it with Stone Cold and Eric Bischoff back in the day. So I think this would work with the 2 faces, with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. I think they would get along. They would do well together. But on the flip of the coin there, on Stephanie, I know you've talked about being Triple H.
Which a lot of people say, hey, it's simple math.
It is simple math, but at the same time, I don't think it's necessary. I really don't. I think that he needs to stay focused on the Cruiserweight Classic, on NXT, on coming up with different ideas for doing stuff down at Full Sail. I mean, he's the COO, so he could be kind of like...
But you look at this here, though. If you want to pull off the same way here, if you look at this, you got Stephanie, Raw, Shane, SmackDown, Hunter, NXT,
and his general manager,
Daniel William Regal. Hers could be, and like I saw on another wrestling reality show, the head guy.
Who'd he bring up?
Nikki, Girl Power on Raw, Stephanie and Nikki.
Could work because Bree's gonna stay at the house. So
yeah, but it definitely needs to be heel, face. You cannot know, because then it doesn't make any sense.
Nikki could work if they do the girl power thing. That could work.
I mean, it'd be different. It would be different.
It would be different. I could also see another one, and this person has been a GM type role before.
Do you want to go back that route, or do you want to start fresh?
I'm starting fresh. It'll be different.
A type part. Okay.
He did that type part, but he was not a GM. And I said he.
Okay.
He has nothing.
He has nothing. Okay.
And he's old.
So
put Ric Flair in it.
Ooh.
Ric Flair can be a heel.
He's buddies with
Triple
Hunter.
H. And so he goes in there to do Triple H's bidding with Stephanie McMahon. He has nothing. Charlotte done booted him and they took him off TV. Yeah. So there's no them two feuding anymore. So he can come back as a fresh heel to work with her and just be her yes man. Because he is like that. He is the one that does the... Whenever he worked around Triple H, like, you're doing great, yeah, blah, blah, blah. When they did the Evolution thing, he could do the same thing with Stephanie, and it gives him something to do. You have the young,
but he still kind of worries me on Flair.
But see, with Daniel and Shane, you have that young ideas going, you have the fresh ideas, and you can have Stephanie talking about how, my way works. And
I just hope it's not Hunter.
No, it doesn't need to be Hunter. But Ric Flair can try to be, like, we need to be, old school like this and that and the other, and not want to go into the future like Daniel and Shane want to do. So you can have two style shows that way.
Hey, that's what you need. I do not want them to be the same show.
Right.
I want to watch Raw for this, and I want to watch SmackDown for this. I don't want to say, okay, well, if I miss Raw, I'll just catch on SmackDown. Or if I miss SmackDown...
They don't even need to do the highlights on each other's shows.
Nope.
You don't need a Raw rebound on SmackDown. Nope. You don't need a SmackDown rebound on Raw.
You don't need to talk about Raw, but
they're going to do it. But they don't need to talk about the two. You need
to treat it like it is two different brands.
Yes. But that's the only two. Like when you brought up Nikki, that made a good point. But the only other person I can think of.
And the only time they should be face to face, brother and sister, is when they have the two pay-per-views together.
Yeah, doing the SummerSlam, doing the WrestleMania,
Survivor Series,
Royal Rumble.
Yes, that is it.
They could do little segments backstage where they're bickering back and forth. Mm-hmm. That's it. Just those 4 pay-per-views.
Or seeing that either the general managers or one of the show's people is talking to somebody from the other show.
Right.
All you gotta do is just say that adds intrigue.
Subtle little things.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the only two I could even think of. Would be Nikki or what's his name?
I like Nikki's girl power. Yeah.
The girl power thing works.
But Flair will be okay. But if it ends up being Hunter, I think it's gonna be we're back to the same authority thing.
But that's the only the only 3 people I could think of. Like, could you even think of anybody else that could go with Stephanie? I mean, because Stephanie and Nikki have history anyway when they turned her heel and all that. So
what I like to see, which I know is probably gonna happen, would be cool to see Eric Bischoff back. I would like to see Eric Bischoff back.
But see, with them two, they've had that history where they're gonna put them 2 button heads though. And I don't like that.
I know, but I would like to see Eric Bischoff back.
Well, of course, and he even said, "Hey, don't worry about me. It's not gonna happen." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But see, I thought he would come back and say, "I want to put my name in the hat just to advertise his DVD."
That's what the other guy was talking about.
But wouldn't that have made sense?
Yes, he was expecting it. But all the other ones.
By the way, on a side note, if you haven't bought it yet, buy the Scott Hall DVD. Phenomenal.
You like it?
Phenomenal. That's mine.
They did quite well with it.
Oh my gosh! And I mean, they broke it down. They were just honest. Because I did not know he blew a man's back of his head off.
I didn't either. If I saw the commercial.
Woo, Lord, that was rough to watch all that. We're talking about that, and then they show the footage of him at that indie show where he's stumbling and falling. They have that in the DVD, and they talked to him about that. I saw
they had a little footage from the video from Jake Roberts thing where they showed him.
Right.
Is that in there too?
You talk about the Jake Roberts documentary where they actually talked to the guy and everything that's there?
No, they talked where they showed him, talking to them over the phone, showing. They show that on one of the commercials.
Talking on the phone, him coming in and coming to the... and then they show part of the footage of him trying to work out, and his hip is going clip, 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 clip. That's when they had to do like a GoFundMe type thing and get his hip surgery done and all that. But, I mean, he has bounced back so well. But, I mean, I'm just saying, we're in talk about it, so it makes sense.
We are in talk about it.
But Scott Hall's DVD, I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, and they break it down from when he looked like Magnum P.I., and worked with Kurt Hennig as a tag team. Yeah. When he was with, I didn't even know him and Danny Spivey were a tag team. They were the Starship Troopers or some weird name like that.
I didn't know that one either.
And what's his name? Because Sean knew him back in like Kansas City. And that's where him and Danny Spivey were a tag team, which I did not know they were. I didn't know the name. That was a weird name. But
it is a weird name.
And then Dusty bought him his first pair of boots. And it was really awesome because I couldn't remember the timetables, but Dusty was alive and he was at the Hall of Fame ceremony for Scott and everything to go in. So that was really awesome. And he actually paid Dusty Rhodes back because back then he said like a pair of boots was like $250. He was just starting out and he had no money. Wow. And Dusty paid for his first pair of boots, and they were silver all the way up to the knee, like real shiny silver. And he said that a couple of years later, he was working at AWA at the time, so he had some money coming in, and it was an NWA AWA joint promotion type show. and they came together at that same town, and he gave him a hug and said he never forgot it, and he slapped the money in his hand, and Dusty said he was proud of him and all that, and that was way back then.
Wow.
So I didn't realize they had such a long history, because I knew they were together in the NWO, and that's Dusty specifically always came out with Scott, and that was it.
How about Scott Hall as a general manager?
That would be interesting too.
It would be. That would throw. I mean, you've got to do something
different.
You've got to do something we hadn't seen before. Something to get people talking. Something that you want you to watch this show.
Exactly.
And Scott Hall's old enough. If he's got his mind on right, he's got a good mind for the business.
He does.
He'd be perfect. Kevin Nash would be different.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash.
I would love to have Scott
He's always
Hall.
been a backstage booker anyway. So
I would love for Scott Hall and Jake Roberts to get real life positions on the booking committee,
that would too.
on the writing team. Yeah. Them two would be phenomenal to say, okay, well,
Paul Heyman in there too.
Right.
Well, somebody's thought that too. Paul Heyman being there with Stephanie. But they would butt heads too.
Of course. I don't want the butt heads thing. I want them to get along. They're supposed to. Why would you pick someone you would butt heads with?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you don't pick nobody, Vince is going to pick them. Vince said he's going to pick him.
Which, I mean, that's the only other way that would make sense for them to butt heads if Vince picked you someone that you didn't really like.
And they may go that route. She may pick Hunter. He goes, no, we've seen that before. This is supposed to be new and fresh. I'm picking your GM. Then if you can't, since you got time to pick
and I'd be okay with that. And then that
piss
way
people off, thinking, oh, here we go with the authority again.
Right. And then we change.
And he changes it out.
Which I'm okay with that. But who do you think will be the #1 picks for Raw and for SmackDown?
It's hard to say, you know. You figure Raw would get the first, because you don't know who's getting the first pick.
That's true. Are they going to do the way they used to do it with the draft? They'd have, because they used to be able to do it because they had Raw and SmackDown people. Yeah. You'd have a Raw and SmackDown guy face each other at the draft, and the winner.
Because you got to wrestle to figure out stuff.
You would wrestle to figure out who.
They may do that. They may do that on Raw Monday. Does who gets the first pick?
Yeah.
But seems like still know, you know.
But who would each person represent? How would you know that? You know, unless Shane said, I'm picking this guy to
Shane
represent me.
Since they pretty much this past week he was on there. He's already part of SmackDown.
Right.
So maybe he picks a guy who's already on SmackDown to represent SmackDown, and then she picks somebody who's on Raw to represent Raw, and that's been They may go that route. That adds some match to the show too.
But who do you think would be #1?
#1 pick overall is not going to be Roman because he's not going to be there, so it'd be stupid to pick somebody who ain't there.
Unless they got him off a screen.
I'm going to say it's going to be either Seth or Dean.
So, the way that they want to do it, I'm going to go.
I'm going to say whoever the WWE champion is going to be the first pick.
Well, yeah, that would make sense because you want the champion on your show.
That's right.
Because you don't have a second belt yet.
No.
But here's the thing. Here's the way I would look at it.
And that means you have to get a second belt.
But here's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from the point of view of how Vince would perceive this is the best way to do #1 picks.
Oh, so John Cena.
John Cena and Roman Reigns. I'm just saying.
I know what you're
John
saying.
Cena being #1 for SmackDown, which I think is a great choice. He'd be the Undertaker of SmackDown.
He needs to go, yes. John
Cena
needs to be on SmackDown.
He needs the old grizzled veteran that, helps that show, especially when it's
there.
Right. And I do like that he's not always there now. I do like that he's signed contracts to do movies and TV shows and web content now and stuff like that. So he's going to be busy. He's thinking outside of WWE now at this point. Finally. But I could see him being #1 for SmackDown and Roman being #1 for Raw. I'm just being honest. That's the way that Vince would look at it. That's my top 2 guys. That's what we're doing. Yeah. But because Roman's not there, I could see your point of Dean and Seth being the first 2. I should say the WWE champion. And maybe that's why they're doing the whole title match the night before, to throw people off. Well, the champion should probably be the first one to get picked, but who's it going to be? And they could speculate that on Raw, like, of course, Michael Cole would be like, well, they're going to want the champion. Whoever the champion is should be, a top pick for each general manager, each commissioner or whatever. But another route you could go even is who the champion is on one show and AJ Styles on the other. Yeah. That could be your #1 pick. AJ could be your #1 pick on SmackDown, and Dean #1 on Raw. Because I think AJ would be perfect for SmackDown.
I do too.
So, I just don't want them splitting up a bunch of people up. But we'll talk about that after the draft, once we see all the results. And I think I think that's what we should do in part 3 is we should break down the draft of talk about who's where and if it was a good pick or if they should have split this up, should have split that. I think that should be something in part 3 next week.
We'll do the Cruiserweight Classic first round matches,
draft.
and then we will break down the draft next week. Well, let's go ahead and let's talk about some more about the draft.
More about the draft. Thumbs up, thumbs down about the draft.
10 W stars who must be split up.
Yes. So number 10 is JBL Michael Cole.
No, let them stay together. I don't want either one of them to go to SmackDown. Really. I want Mario. I want MR, Mister, and Corey Graves to be. I'm sorry, Jerry, but I mean, it's time. It's done.
So do you think that the announcers will be involved in the draft?
Oh, that's stupid.
They've done it before with Jim Ross got all pissed off.
I hated it. Leave the announcers out of it.
But we don't have Corey Graves on there yet, so how do you pull him into it? You see what I'm saying?
When you start SmackDown Live, you go, hi, with our new color commentator, Corey Graves and Jerry the King Lawler, because Byron is over on Raw.
That's true.
So you take Byron out.
Maybe they announced that on SmackDown Live. Maybe they announced that, hey, we can't have Byron on both shows.
Don't need to. If they have Byron on both, I'm gonna be pissed if they have Byron
because
on both
shows. If they have to have unique rosters, they should have unique commentators.
Thank you.
I still don't agree with the 3-man group, but they're obsessed with that.
Yeah,
so at least if they're going to do it that way, put Corey and move Byron to Raw.
And then every other freaking announcer table they announce is always 2 men.
Right, except for the English one. Yeah. So weird. Up next is Dolph and Baron Corbin.
Yes, for God's sakes. Yeah, thumbs up to let's get those 2 broken up.
But even then, I mean, be smart and don't have them as a feud. You can have them on the same show, and they don't have to feud. But I do see the point of not being around each other.
No.
And of course, up next is Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Either way, we're going to get 2 members of the Shield at least on the same show.
You
have
have
not
to.
3 shows.
Yeah. So 2 members, and then is those 2, or you want the other 2?
Either way, Seth's going to feud with one of them probably.
He's gonna feud with one of them. You're right. So.
Whoever the good guy is on that show, he's going to feud with that one.
I mean,
starting out. So it doesn't really matter to me. So that one doesn't really matter. And then up next is Kane and Big Show. Talking about not having the old grizzled veterans on the same show, of being, the 7-footers all on the same show.
Well, if they kept them on the same show, I mean, good. Yeah, I'd say thumbs up. Splitting them up be fine.
If they keep them on the same show, make them a tag team.
Thank you.
Because they're gonna split up tag teams. We already know it. Make them a tag team. They've been tag team champions before together. Make them a tag team. So you've got the veteran tag team that has nothing to do right now. You make them something to do so they can put over other tag teams. Boom. There you go. So I gave you 2 options on that one. Up next,
the Kane is losing a lot of steam. People are not like, ooh, it's Kane.
Yeah, they need to go in there. They need to be dominant, and they need to go over and beat some jobber tag teams, and then that makes it look good when they lose to a good tag team on the show.
Since they already mentioned Big Show and Shaq for WrestleMania already.
So stupid. Up next is Primo and Epico.
No, that's thumb downs.
We have
it. You just brought them back as a new team. Why would you split them up? That's stupid.
Don't split them up.
But remember, this is WWE.
That is true. Up next is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and yes,
time for them to depart.
They need to have 2 different shows, giving them time away from each other. Up next is, of course, Roman Reigns and John Cena, and you can't have your top 2 guys on the same show.
Nope.
One has to be on Raw, one has to be on SmackDown. That's a given. That's why I even mentioned it just now about, Vince thinking my top 2 guys need to be separated.
Yeah.
Because you need to have, Roman. I mean, it would make sense because, John Cena was the one that went over to Raw and was the new face that they pushed real big when the brands was going on. Same thing with Roman. They want to push him so bad. He needs to be split off from the grizzled veteran. That's like Undertaker and John Cena were over here. They had to split the 2 of them apart.
Yes.
Same thing with John Cena and Roman Reigns. You don't need them on the same show.
No.
And then, of course, next we have Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. Not sure why they have to be separated.
No. But I mean, either way, if you separate them, be fine. You keep them together, be fine.
They don't have to feud with each other, so I don't agree with that.
Right now,
who cares? Up next, I don't agree with. It's another situation like Kane and Big Show, having old veterans having a tag team, so they have something to do, and that is R-Truth and Goldust. I do not agree with pulling them apart.
if they said, okay, you got Golden Truth or Breezango, I'm gonna say goodbye R-Truth and Goldust because
Absolutely.
Breezango looks like a team. They remind me of Billy and Chuck a little bit as how they protect each other and look after each other
Right.
and prep each other.
But
I like their team better than I like Golden Truth.
I get that.
So,
Golden Truth needs something to do.
but you're splitting up a team. Bye-bye Golden Truth.
I get that. But Golden Truth, they have nothing to do with singles. They might as well just go be trainers because they don't have anything to do. And they don't, I mean, as singles guys, they're going to be nothing but just a social outcast as singles people. So I don't really agree with that. But I do agree with, they should have put this on here, Golden Truth needs to be on one show and Breezango needs to be on a different show. They need to be done just like Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, this was already on here beforehand. But the number one is Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon, which we already know they are split apart. One running Raw, one running SmackDown Live, which is the best thing. And up next, we have the NWA and TNA Heavyweight Tournament Finals. We're going to have a 2 out of 3 falls
First time ever!
First time ever on our tournaments. 2 out of 3 falls with the Justin Carter bracket winner. The Justin Carter bracket winner, which is number 1 seed Kurt Angle taking on the Mag Hogan bracket winner, which is number 2 seed Austin Aries.
Very good finals here.
It is a good finals.
And we need to go ahead and get the wheel spun.
We do.
Pierre, do your job.
Spin the wheel.
All right, there's my boy.
That's a good one. Austin Aries pulling out a win. He only needs one more now at this point in order to win the whole thing. Kurt's going to come from behind. He has to come from behind if he's going to win it.
No.
To get a 2-1 victory. So Austin Aries has only got one more chance. So
2-0 for Austin.
So right now we're going to go to match number 2. Who's going to win match number 2? Let's go with that one on Pierre.
Come on, spin that wheel, Pierre.
Wow.
It's 1-1 now. 1-1.
1-1. And I mean, even spinning the wheel, you still get 1-1. You know, they could have had an upset where Kurt got no wins, and that's
like real wrestling here. Come on,
right?
folks,
That's what I was thinking. I was like, well, the spinner's kind of crazy. Just like when they book a 2 out of 3 falls, you know. So
always gonna be.
So we now know it's even 1-1. Here's the rubber match.
Come on,
match 3.
Aries.
Who is going to be the winner of match 3 and overall the winner of the entire NWA TNA Heavyweight Tournament bracket? Let's find out. Let's go to that. Spinning the wheel.
Third time.
Wow. Your guy did not win.
He got the first win and
then he lost 2 in a row.
2 in a row to Kurt Angle.
So the Justin Carter bracket wins the entire thing. Kurt Angle is your winner of the NWA TNA Heavyweight Tournament. That's pretty big. And in this 2016 tournament, Kurt Angle beat Rhino, who was a number 16 seed.
That's a good win.
He beat Jeff Hardy, a number 8 seed. He beat Bobby Roode, a number 11 seed. He beat Sting, a number 2 seed. And finally, Austin Aries, who's also a number 2 seed. So he beat a who's who of TNA champions.
Yes, and now we'll have to put the thinking caps on and think of what could be happening in the next
Yes, we're going to give you another tournament.
Month, to say what tournament we're going to do.
Come up with another tournament, but that gives us more room on part 3 to talk about the draft.
Oh, yes.
So it'll be
the draft.
The tournament is over with, but up next in part number 4, Where'd we go? All right.
Right there, we're gonna
We
bring
got
out
the
the
list.
old storybook out.
We got
do
the
chapter
storybook.
4. We got a new segment coming up. 15 WWE stars that failed as the guy.
15 biggest matches WWE should have booked in the 90s, but did not. We're on number 10.
And 2 more times that WWE lied right to our faces.
So convenient.
They are a bunch of liars. So come on back to bar for the list.
That does not miss.
I'm Mike Hogan.
I'm just a cop.
And thanks again, and congratulations to Kurt Angle for being the NWA TNA Heavyweight Tournament Champion.
Justin Carter bracket.
Justin Carter bracket. I don't hear this. Jeez.
You'll never hear the end of it.